Iran's foreign minister has arrived in Russia for a meeting with President Vladimir Putin. It comes after an Axios reports that Tehran has given the U.S. a new proposal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and end the war. That includes postponing nuclear negotiations. Now, for more, we're joined by Bloomberg's Jumana Bersetchi in Dubai. So, Jumana, what more do we actually know about this proposal?
Yeah, well, Francine, on Friday, I think expectations were really high that we were going to see another round of direct U.S.-Iran talks in Islamabad over the course of the weekend. And clearly that has not transpired. But what has gone down is a whirlwind trip by the Iranian foreign minister who flew to Islamabad. He then went on to Oman, back to Islamabad again, and then a couple of hours ago arrived in Russia and will be meeting with the Russian President Putin. And what has emerged here is the Iranians' counter-proposal for what they deem as necessary conditions in order for negotiations to continue. And here the wording is very important because they're not coming back and saying these are the conditions for necessarily peace or some of the longer term issues around the nuclear file. These are just the conditions that they would like to see in order to return back to the negotiating table. As reported by Iranian state media, they're looking for things like a new legal framework for the Hormuz, a lifting of the U.S. blockade, compensation for damage, and guarantees against further military action. Clearly, many of those are non-starters as far as the U.S. perspective is concerned. And over the weekend, President Trump gave an interview to Fox where he was talking about the success of the U.S. naval blockade and actually suggesting that Iranian storage capacity will start to get filled up in the next couple of days. So the question is, why would the U.S. take that point of leverage away from themselves in anticipation of what they think is going to be a lot of economic hardship to follow on Iran, because their exports are essentially going to be cut off the longer this blockade goes on for. So we haven't got a formal response yet from the U.S., expecting it to come at some point later this afternoon. Axios reporting that there will be a Situation Room briefing later today. But from what we can gather from all of the diplomatic shuffling that has taken place over the weekend, it is clear that from the Iranians' perspective, what they're trying to do here is to bifurcate the issue of the Strait and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz from the nuclear file and try to deal with the first thing now and then later on deal with the thornier issues of what to do with the nuclear program. And just a reminder to viewers, it took the Obama team 20 months to get the JCPOA across the line. If they're planning on looking at that sort of time frame, it may take a very long time to get a nuclear deal, a new form of a nuclear deal across the line.